Love doesn't follow rules, and it certainly doesn't care about gender. In the heart of Hollywood, where every glance is scrutinized and every secret risks exposure, some of the most powerful love stories have bloomed quietly away from the chaos. These lesbian couples didn't just challenge the norms, they shattered them. With raw honesty and deep devotion, they've shown that real love can survive even under the brightest spotlight. From legendary icons to rising stars, their stories echo with courage, authenticity, and an unshakable bond that continues to inspire hearts around the world. Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Marinoni, a love story rooted in purpose. Long before she became a political voice, Cynthia Nixon captivated audiences as Miranda Hobbs on Sex and the City. But behind the fame and red carpets was a love story quietly blossoming, one built not on Hollywood glamour, but on shared values and a passion for change. In 2001, Nixon met Kristen Marinoni, a fiery education activist from Washington state, while campaigning to reduce class sizes in New York City's public schools. Marinoni was already known for creating safe spaces for LGBTQ+ youth and fighting for equity at the grassroots level. What started as a joint mission for social reform evolved into something deeply personal. In 2004, after ending her 15-year relationship with the father of her 2 children, Nixon and Marinoni officially became a couple. Nixon would later clarify that falling in love with Marinoni wasn't about redefining her sexuality, it was simply about finding the right person. With a wink of humor, she once quipped, "Nobody likes the bi people," but there was never any doubt about her devotion to Marinoni. The couple got engaged in 2009 at a rally for marriage equality, and after New York legalized same-sex marriage, they tied the knot on May 27, 2012. Nixon legally adopted Marinoni's last name, though she remains professionally known as Cynthia Nixon. Together, they raised their son Max and continued to champion progressive causes side by side. When Nixon ran for governor in 2018, Marinoni was there every step of the way, standing proudly at her side. Their story isn't just about romance, it's about purpose, courage, and unwavering commitment. In a world still wrestling with prejudice, Cynthia and Kristen remind us that love doesn't always come in expected forms. But when it does, it can be powerful, healing, and revolutionary. For anyone who values authenticity, activism, and the triumph of love over judgment, this is the kind of story that sticks with you. Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres, a love story that defied Hollywood odds. In a town where love stories often burn fast and fade faster, Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres have quietly built something rare, an enduring partnership rooted in love, loyalty, and quiet strength. Their journey began in 2000, but it wasn't until 2004, when Portia was lighting up screens in Arrested Development, that the world caught wind of their romance. Ellen, by then, had already made headlines and history. In 1997, she bravely came out, both as herself and as her sitcom character, shattering taboos but paying a steep price. Her show was cancelled. Her career stalled. But Ellen didn't retreat, she reinvented. By 2003, The Ellen DeGeneres Show debuted and quickly became one of America's most beloved daytime programs. Through it all, Ellen and Portia stayed grounded. Their love wasn't a publicity stunt. It was quiet, sincere, and deeply felt. When California briefly legalized same-sex marriage in 2008, they didn't waste a moment. In an intimate ceremony at their Beverly Hills home, just 19 guests, no Hollywood fanfare, Portia wore a soft blush Zac Posen gown. Ellen stood proudly by her side in a crisp white suit. It wasn't just a wedding, it was a cultural statement. They became one of the first high-profile same-sex couples to legally marry in the state. In 2010, Portia legally became Portia Lee James DeGeneres. She later stepped away from acting to pursue her passion for art and founded General Public, an art curation venture. Ellen, meanwhile, continued hosting her show until its bittersweet end in 2022 after 19 successful seasons. Despite decades in the public eye, their love has remained remarkably private and unshaken. "She's not the celebrity in our house," Ellen once joked. "She's the smart one." In a world addicted to scandal and breakups, their story is a refreshing testament to commitment, resilience, and mutual respect. For older American viewers especially, it strikes a powerful chord, blending tradition with progress, personal sacrifice with public change. Their candid wedding, name change, and lasting bond make them feel not like stars, but like people we know and admire. Kristen Stewart and Stella Maxwell. A love that redefined quiet courage. Kristen Stewart has never played by Hollywood's rules. After rising to global superstardom as Bella in the Twilight Saga, she turned away from the blockbuster machine and chose a path of authenticity, one built on indie films, raw emotion, and staying true to herself. That same authenticity carried into her personal life, especially when it came to love. In 2017, Kristen began dating Stella Maxwell, the striking Victoria's Secret angel known for lighting up runways across the world. But theirs wasn't a relationship built on headlines or red carpet glitz. It was real, quiet, grounded. Instead of chasing media attention, they chose stolen moments, biking side by side through the streets of LA, sharing intimate afternoons away from the cameras, or appearing elegantly and effortlessly in the background of European fashion events. When Kristen publicly declared her bisexuality during a cheeky Saturday Night Live monologue, "I'm like, so gay, dude," it was more than a joke. It was a moment of defiance, a cultural shift. In a town known for hiding the truth, Kristen laid hers bare with a smirk and zero shame. Her relationship with Stella wasn't just tabloid fodder. It was a quiet revolution. A love lived openly, unapologetically, and without spectacle. Though they eventually parted ways in late 2018, and Kristen later announced her engagement to screenwriter Dylan Meyer in 2021, her time with Stella still echoes. It marked a chapter of real change, where same-sex love was no longer whispered about behind closed doors, but lived boldly in the open. For older generations watching these stories unfold, Kristen and Stella's relationship is more than celebrity romance. It's a testament to how far we've come. It's about courage without fanfare, love without shame, and the steady dismantling of outdated norms. In a world still learning how to embrace difference, they didn't just show us who they loved, they showed us who they were. And that made all the difference. Jessica Nicole and Claire J. Savage, a love story rooted in realness. In the glittering world of Hollywood, where love is often performed for cameras and curated for clicks, Jessica Nicole and Claire J. Savage are a rare and beautiful exception. Their relationship isn't a headline-grabbing spectacle, but a quiet revolution in what love can look like when it's real. Jessica Nicole, beloved for her role as Astrid Farnsworth on the sci-fi hit Fringe, is far more than an actress. She's a writer, illustrator, advocate for ethical DIY fashion, and a creative soul who lives life with intention. Her partner, Claire J. Savage, is a gifted writer and storyteller whose words breathe life into their shared world. Together, they've created something that feels increasingly rare in the public eye. A life built not on image, but on intention. Their love didn't bloom on red carpets. It grew in cozy corners filled with laughter, handmade projects, and shared values. From restoring their own living spaces to living sustainably and supporting queer identity, Jessica and Claire have chosen authenticity over attention. Rather than crafting a brand, they've quietly built a home, a life rich with meaning and mutual respect. Jessica has openly shared how Claire helped her unlearn rigid gender roles and rediscover herself as both an artist and a human being. Through heartfelt blog posts and glimpses on Instagram, featuring homemade clothing, reflections on identity, and tender snapshots of daily life, their story has inspired many without ever chasing the spotlight. What makes their journey truly resonate, especially with older or more grounded audiences, is its honesty. It's a reminder that real love doesn't need to be loud to be lasting. It's about showing up, growing together, and creating joy from the small, everyday moments. Jessica and Claire's partnership isn't about performance, it's about presence. In a world that often rewards spectacle, they've chosen substance. And in doing so, they've quietly become a beacon of what true love can still look like: raw, resilient, and beautifully real. Brianna, Hildebrand, and Jonica Gibbs didn't fall in love under the spotlight. They found something far more rare: quiet, unwavering connection in a world built on image. In an industry where romance is often choreographed for the cameras, Their story is refreshingly real. Hildebrand captured hearts as the fierce and witty Negasonic teenage warhead in Deadpool, 2016, breaking ground as one of Marvel's first openly gay superheroes. But behind her trailblazing role was a quieter revolution, a love story that didn't need headlines to make an impact. That same year, on the set of an indie film, she met Jonica Gibbs, a gifted stage and production designer. What started as creative collaboration blossomed into something lasting, a bond built not on red carpets, but on shared values, trust, and artistic respect. There was no grand announcement, no glossy magazine debut. Instead, the world caught glimpses of their love through subtle snapshots. A birthday laugh, a travel photo, a cozy night in cooking together. It wasn't performative. It was honest. Fans took notice, not because they were loud, but because they were real. In a generation craving authenticity, Hildebrand and Gibbs became quiet icons for something deeper than fame, emotional truth. Raised in a conservative Texas town, Hildebrand has spoken about the struggles of navigating identity in a world that didn't always accept her. But through it all, she credits her relationship with Gibbs for keeping her grounded, a steady anchor amid the chaos of sudden stardom. For older viewers or anyone drawn to timeless values, loyalty, emotional strength, and resilience, their story resonates deeply. It's not about youth, trends, or fleeting fame. It's about choosing love that doesn't need an audience. In the end, Brianna and Jonica remind us of something beautifully simple. The most powerful relationships aren't the ones staged for show. They're the ones that endure quietly when no one's watching. Jane Lynch and Laura Embry, a love story that quietly changed hearts. Jane Lynch, the razor-sharp comedic powerhouse best known as the unforgettable Sue Sylvester on Glee, has always delivered laughs on screen, but off-screen, her life has held a quieter, more emotional narrative. One of its most heartfelt chapters began in 2009 at a San Francisco fundraiser, where she met Dr. Laura Embry, a brilliant clinical psychologist and fierce advocate for LGBTQ+ parental rights. Their connection was instant. More than chemistry, it was alignment of purpose, integrity, and shared strength. By Memorial Day 2010, they were married in a modest ceremony in Sunderland, Massachusetts, one of the few places at the time where same-sex marriage was even legal. But what started as an intimate moment between two people became something far greater. With Glee catapulting Lynch into the national spotlight, she used her rising fame not just to entertain, but to elevate, speaking openly, and often with warmth and humor, about their relationship in a time when such openness was still considered bold. While Jane embraced the attention, Laura, who earned her PhD from the University of Washington, preferred the background. Yet whenever they appeared together, there was a quiet power in their presence. A marriage of visibility and grace. Their union lasted 3 years. In 2013, Lynch announced their separation, calling it amicable yet deeply painful. The divorce was finalized in 2014, but the legacy of their relationship endures. In a decade marked by seismic shifts in LGBTQ+ rights and cultural awareness, their love story stood as a symbol, real, imperfect, and courageous. Today, Jane continues to be a fierce voice for LGBTQ+ youth and authentic representation in media. Laura remains devoted to her work in psychology and family law. And while their paths have diverged, their shared journey remains a powerful reminder. Not all love stories last forever, but the dignity with which they are lived can leave a lasting mark. For older American viewers especially, stories like this resonate. They reflect the kind of love, resilience, and quiet courage that define a life well lived. It's not permanence that makes a love story unforgettable. It's truth, grace, and the strength to walk away with compassion. Ruby Rose and Jessica Origugliaso weren't just another celebrity couple. They were a moment in culture, a spark that lit up the conversation around love, identity, and what it truly means to be seen. Ruby, the striking, gender-fluid Australian actress known for her bold presence and breakout role as Batwoman, has long stood as a beacon for the LGBTQ+ community. Jessica Origugliaso, one half of the powerhouse pop duo The Veronicas, brought her own unique voice, style, and heart to the partnership. Together, they didn't just date. They redefined what queer love could look like in the public eye: raw, real, imperfect, and unafraid. Their story began in 2008, a brief spark that dimmed before it could become a flame. But in 2016, fate gave them a second chance. Fans around the world rejoiced when the two reunited, this time not in whispers, but with fire. Their chemistry wasn't just felt on stage or in tabloids. It pulsed through the screen in the hauntingly beautiful music video On Your Side, written and directed by Ruby herself. The video wasn't just art. It was a love letter. Honest, unpolished, and deeply human. They never played pretend. They showed us the light and the shadow. From long-distance strain to the relentless gaze of media scrutiny, their love carried weight. And when they eventually parted ways in 2018, it wasn't with drama, but with grace. They honored what they had and walked forward with respect. For older audiences, their story resonates on a deeper level, not because of the fame, but because of the truth in it. It's about loving out loud in a world that doesn't always understand. It's about stumbling, standing back up, and daring to be vulnerable in front of millions. Ruby and Jessica's love may not have lasted forever, but its impact will. Because in their honesty, they reminded us that even the most unconventional relationships can echo the most universal truths: love, heartbreak, resilience, and the hope that through it all, we come to know ourselves more deeply. Linda Hunt and Karen Klein. A quiet love that defied Hollywood's noise. Linda Hunt has never followed the rules. She's rewritten them. With her commanding presence, unforgettable voice, and fearless talent, she carved out a singular path in Hollywood. In 1984, she made history by winning an Academy Award for the Year of Living Dangerously, becoming the first actor to win an Oscar for playing a character of the opposite gender. It was a landmark moment, but it's only one chapter in a much deeper story. While the world celebrated her professional triumphs, Hunt lived her personal life away from the spotlight, with grace, integrity, and unwavering devotion. Since the late 1970s, she has shared her life with psychotherapist Karen Klein. Long before society caught up, they built a love that quietly endured. In 2008, during a fleeting window of legalized same-sex marriage in California, they officially tied the knot, though their bond had already stood strong for decades. Now together for more than 45 years, their relationship is one of the most enduring in Hollywood, not because of red carpets or headlines, but because of what truly matters: trust, mutual respect, and a deep, abiding connection. They've created a life far from the glare of fame, nestled in a historic craftsman home in Los Angeles, surrounded by antiques, blooming gardens, and a rhythm that speaks to peace over pretense. Hunt has spoken of Klein only occasionally, but always with warmth and a twinkle of wit. "Karen's the stable one," she once said. "I'm the eccentric one." They've never chased publicity. Yet, in a town obsessed with image, their quiet authenticity speaks louder than any tabloid splash. Their love tells a different kind of Hollywood story, one of resilience, quiet courage, and the power of simply showing up, day after day, for the one you love. For many older American audiences, it's this quiet dignity, this timeless commitment, that resonates most deeply. In an age of fleeting headlines and viral moments, Linda Hunt and Karen Klein remind us that real love doesn't need a spotlight, it just needs two hearts willing to grow together through time. Jodie Foster and Alexandra Hedes. For most of her life, Jodie Foster has been the embodiment of quiet brilliance, both on screen and off. A two-time Academy Award winner known for her intelligence and emotional nuance, Foster built a career wrapped in elegance and mystery. While Hollywood often demanded spectacle, she chose privacy. And for decades, her personal life remained carefully guarded, shaped by an industry that once punished LGBTQ+ stars for daring to live openly. But times changed, and so did she. The first real crack in the curtain came in 2007 when, during a quiet awards speech, she thanked her then-partner, Sydney Bernard. No announcement, no headlines, just a whisper of truth wrapped in warmth. Then came 2013, the Golden Globes. Foster stepped up to accept the Cecil B. DeMille Award, and with a voice steady and sincere, she acknowledged her identity, not with fireworks, but with honesty. It wasn't a coming out. It was a coming home. By that time, Foster had fallen in love with Alexandra Hedes, an accomplished photographer and former actress known for the L Word and her striking work in fine art. In April 2014, the two married in a private ceremony, staying true to their quiet rhythm. Their life isn't one of red carpets or tabloid spreads. It's built on art, respect, and deep, grounded love. Together, they co-parent Foster's two sons while continuing to shine in their respective creative fields. Foster directs and acts, most recently in the Mauritanian and True Detective, Night Country. Hedeson's photography graces galleries across the globe. They rarely step into the spotlight together. But when they do, it matters. Like at the 2021 Cannes Film Festival, when Foster received an honorary Palme d'Or and kissed Hedison on camera. It wasn't performative. It was real, intimate, unforgettable. Not because of the spectacle, but because of the sincerity. For older American audiences, stories like this don't just inspire, they resonate. They speak to a different kind of love, one built on mutual respect, creativity, and quiet courage. Jodie Foster's journey is not just about coming out, it's about standing tall, without ever shouting. And in a world obsessed with noise, her story, and theirs, reminds us that true connection doesn't need a spotlight. It just needs truth, dignity, and time. Monica Raymond and Tari Seagull, a love rooted in truth and creative fire. Monica Raymond has long stood out in Hollywood, not just for her powerful performances in Chicago Fire and Hightown, but for the raw authenticity she brings to every role and every chapter of her life. She isn't just acting, she's living her truth out loud. In 2014, Monica made waves by publicly coming out as bisexual on Twitter, becoming one of the few Latinx actresses at the time to do so. It wasn't a PR move. It was an act of courage and conviction, a reflection of her unshakable belief in honesty and representation. But while her career was heating up on screen, something tender and transformative was happening behind the scenes. On the set of Chicago Fire, Monica crossed paths with cinematographer Tari Seagull, the show's director of photography. What began as a professional collaboration quietly bloomed into something deeper, a love story built not on spectacle, but on shared vision, respect, and creative chemistry. Unlike many Hollywood couples, Monica and Tari haven't chased the spotlight. Instead, they've let their connection speak in quiet, intimate ways. An occasional social media post, a loving shout-out, a knowing glance. Monica once said, "We speak the same language." And that shared language isn't just romantic, it's artistic, emotional, and spiritual. It shows up in the way they work, the causes they champion, and the life they're building together. Monica's role in Hightown as an openly gay character mirrors her real-life commitment to authenticity, giving audiences a glimpse of what it means to live freely and love honestly. Meanwhile, Tari has carved out her own path behind the camera, with a portfolio that spans independent gems and major productions alike. For older American viewers who crave substance over spectacle, this is more than a love story, it's a portrait of purpose. It's about two women who found each other not through fame, but through shared values, creative passion, and the kind of quiet, enduring bond that transcends trends. In a world obsessed with fast fame and fleeting headlines, Monica Raymond and Tari Seagull remind us that the most powerful stories are the ones lived with intention, depth, and heart. Elliot Page and Emma Portner's story wasn't your typical Hollywood romance. It was a quiet revolution in love, art, and identity. Before Elliot became one of the most visible transgender figures in the world, he was already living a different kind of truth, one rooted in authenticity and deep emotional connection. In early 2018, Elliot surprised fans with the announcement of his marriage to Canadian dancer and choreographer Emma Portner. Their love story didn't begin in the spotlight. It began on Instagram, with mutual admiration that blossomed into something rare and profound. It wasn't just romance, it was a meeting of souls, a creative collision that defied convention. Portner, known for her raw, emotionally charged choreography and collaborations with Justin Bieber and the New York City Ballet, brought a kinetic energy that perfectly matched Elliot's thoughtful, expressive spirit. Together, they built something beautiful, a world of movement, film, and performance that blurred the line between private intimacy and public art. At the time of their wedding, Elliot had not yet come out as transgender. But their union stood as a bold, quiet celebration of queer love and creative freedom. Their collaborations, whether through dance, reflection, or simple moments shared online, were never flashy or performative. They felt real, honest, grounded. Then in December 2020, Elliot came out to the world as transgender through a powerful, deeply personal letter. Emma's response was immediate and unwavering. She called his courage a gift. Though their marriage came to an end in 2021, their separation was marked by the same grace, respect, and thoughtfulness that defined their time together. For older American viewers, this story isn't just about a relationship, it's about the values that endure: personal growth, mutual respect, and the quiet strength of two people standing by each other through profound transformation. Because not all love stories are meant to last forever. Some are meant to leave a mark, not through years, but through truth. The bond between Elliot Page and Emma Portner reminds us that love, in its purest form, is about lifting one another up, even when the path forward leads in different directions. And that, more than anything, is what makes their story unforgettable. Sarah Gilbert and Linda Perry were never the flashy, red carpet type, and that's exactly what made their love stories so powerful. Sarah, beloved for her role as the sharp-witted Darlene Connor on Roseanne and later as the grounded voice of reason on The Talk, had always kept her private life just that, private. In contrast, Linda Perry, the fearless frontwoman of Four Non-Blondes and the songwriting genius behind chart toppers like Christina Aguilera's Beautiful and Gwen Stefani's What You Waiting For, lived life out loud, raw, real, and unapologetically artistic. Their worlds collided in 2011, during a transitional time in Sarah's life as she was moving on from a long-term relationship with producer Allison Adler, with whom she shared 2 children. What sparked between Sarah and Linda wasn't just romantic, it was magnetic, creative, soulful, the kind of connection that didn't need a spotlight to shine. In 2013, Linda proposed in a way only she could, through music. A surprise picnic, a string quartet, a heartfelt serenade. It was tender, bold, and beautifully unique. They married the following year in a free-spirited bohemian ceremony in Malibu, and soon after, Sarah gave birth to their son, Rhodes Emilio Gilbert Perry. Their blended family became a reflection of what they both stood for: love without pretense, family without labels, and authenticity above all. Though their marriage ended in 2019, with Sarah filing for legal separation citing irreconcilable differences, the story doesn't end in sadness. It continues in the form of deep respect, devoted co-parenting, and the quiet strength it takes to part ways with grace. Their relationship wasn't just a Hollywood romance. It was a modern portrait of queer love, resilience, and truth. It showed that sometimes the most meaningful relationships aren't defined by longevity, but by the courage to be seen, the honesty to evolve, and the legacy left behind. For older generations, Gilbert and Perry's journey reminds us that real love isn't always about staying. It's about showing up, speaking truth, and parting with dignity when the time comes. Wanda Sykes and Alexandra Needbalski, a love story rooted in truth and strength. Wanda Sykes has always lit up the stage with her razor-sharp wit and fearless comedy. But behind the spotlight of her Emmy-winning career and trailblazing legacy as one of the most successful Black female comedians in history lies a deeply personal, inspiring love story that often goes untold. It all began in 2006, on a ferry ride to New York's Fire Island. Wanda wasn't looking for anything, just enjoying the day, when a casual conversation about kitchen countertops with French businesswoman Alexandra Needbalski changed everything. That seemingly ordinary chat sparked something extraordinary. 2 years later, they were married. That same year, in 2008, Wanda publicly came out during a rally in Las Vegas protesting California's Proposition 8, a law that sought to ban same-sex marriage. It wasn't scripted. It was raw, emotional, and from the heart. "I feel like I'm being personally attacked," she said, words that echoed the pain and frustration felt by countless LGBTQ+ Americans at the time. Her courage to speak out carried even greater weight in the Black and lesbian communities, where representation was still far too rare. In 2009, Wanda and Alexandra welcomed twins, Olivia and Lucas, into their lives. While Wanda continued to champion LGBTQ+ rights, racial justice, and parenting equality in the public eye, Alexandra chose a quieter path, focusing on nurturing their family away from the spotlight. It's that balance between bold advocacy and quiet stability that defines their relationship, proving that love doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. For many older American viewers, their story resonates deeply, a tale of real love, enduring family values, and moral courage in an often chaotic world. From that chance ferry ride to raising twins together, Wanda and Alexandra remind us that authenticity, mutual respect, and emotional honesty form the foundation of lasting love, even in the glare of fame. As Wanda once said, "Getting married and having kids made me more honest." And it's that honesty, both on stage and at home, that keeps audiences watching, laughing, and inspired. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a moment of these incredible stories. Stay tuned, there's more love and truth where that came from.